Uh-oh, now I got to be on my best behavior. Now she's recording it. So good morning. Actually, it is officially good afternoon now. Thank you guys for taking your time here. Now, my name is Kevin. If we didn't mention that, I am from AppFiles. I've been around now for almost 9 years with the company. Is everybody brand spanking new there to AppFiles except Jen? So everybody's brand new. All right, this is going to go well. It's actually my second day. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. All right. So for those of you that don't know who we are and what we do, Remax and Stuart, there, you guys have been with us for a very, very long time. But to give you a little insight of who we are as a company, we are a family-owned and operated company, and we're based right here in Florida. We are right down the street from you guys in West Palm Beach. That's where we're all working. We work all of our out of our houses right now. Um, Hello in the background behind Jordan. How you doing, buddy? Another guy in the room. All right. So we work currently with about 1,600 brokerages, about 65,000 users between two states. We operate in Florida and Georgia. And the reason we do that is, it's all about relationships with us, So really kind of what happened over the years, real estate and technology just grew further apart. Now, is anybody brand new to real estate on this call? Kat, you're brand new to real estate? Okay, cool. Congratulations, and I'm sorry all at the same time. I'm kidding. All right. So really, what we have found, with you two that are brand new, is over the years, real estate and technology just simply grew further apart than closer together. Because all you got was another program. Most companies that are out there, you've got a forms program and a signature program, a PDF manipulation program, photo sharing, photo editing, a digital storage. The list went on. These things here back in 2010, these were supposed to change the way we did business, right? These are the old handy dandy tablets. I got one down here somewhere, right? The handy dandy tablets, right? These are supposed to change the way we did business. All you got was another 3 or 4 programs. I call this the kid shutter upper. All right. I've been blessed with 3 boys. When we get in the car to go somewhere, I'm like, play Angry Birds, right? Play Pokemon Go. So really what AppFiles was designed to do is just take all the tools that you guys use on a daily basis and put it into one system. All right. So the 3 parts of the program, first part, hey, we're a paperless solution, right? So all of your state forms, your association forms are all within AppFiles. They're all updated whenever we update them. The state updates them. They're all fillable, signature fields, initial fields there, just there when you need them. We also have our own digital signature program built in. That's very simple to use for you and for your clients, right? I don't need multiple email addresses. If you have a husband and wife that share an email, there's nothing in the rules and laws of real estate or the fraud and forgery laws of the US that says you need 2 email addresses. People that do it for security purposes, right? Notice the air quotes. Really, they do it for data capture. They take your information, they sell it off to a third party somewhere. I am not Zillow. I don't sell off leads or anything else. The only time we even look at your files is if you call up to support and need help. Okay. Now we also have our own version of Adobe built in, so you can work with paper, because it's never going to go away. So you can do your strike throughs and counter offers. You can split documents apart. You can merge documents back together. If you guys ever get one of those annoying emails that's 12 pictures instead of 1 PDF, I got a button that can convert photos into a PDF just by clicking a button. All right, we're trying to save your most valuable asset, which is your time. Okay. Now the second part of the system is just complete digital storage of all of your information. Right. So transactions are more than what most people think about. They think about forms, documents, maybe some photos. But with us, we're a cloud-based system, right? And we store everything: your forms, your documents, your photos, your email communications, your tasks, your contact data, web links, right? Everything just stored in one place. Now, the system will work on every device, so it doesn't matter if you're an Android person, if you're an Apple person, right? You can have a PC, you can have a Mac, you can have a Kindle Fire, Nook, anything with a Wi-Fi connection, it works on. It also works on every browser as well. So, Chrome, Firefox, Safari. If you guys go to the Bahamas, Rastafari still works. All right. Now, the last part about AppFiles is the fact that it's built on a live platform. So it offers real-time collaboration between you guys in the office, but also you and your clients, right? So maybe with the 2 that are brand new to real estate, maybe you come across something weird. Maybe there's a basement in the state of Florida, right? I know that's kind of hard to believe. There's 5 in Key West. Normally they're, in-ground swimming pools, but you don't know how to write that up. You could literally call up your broker. She could type in it, you could be out in the field, refresh your screen, it's done. You know, doing a digital signature request. If I send you a request right now, Kat, and you're like, hey, you spelled my name wrong, right? You know, Kat's short. You got to put my full name in there, right? My whole full legal name. And say, hold on a second, don't sign it. I can make the change on my phone. You refresh the screen, it's done. You don't have to, cancel the email. You don't have to start all over again. Now we also have custom checklists as well built in. I like to call them guides, okay? Because guides are there to help you guys out, especially being if you're brand new to real estate, you're saying, okay, well, if I'm going to do a listing for a single family home, what forms do I need? All right. So we actually auto add in certain starts of required items to help you guys throughout the process. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys really a 3-step process today. All right. This is really hard. You ready for a prop? Look at this. We're going to create a file. All right. We're going to add in some forms and documents, and then we're going to submit it to the office, right? That's the 3 steps of AppFiles. Nice and simple. Now, does everybody have logins? Okay. So you guys can follow along with AppFiles if you want. You can create your own depending on what you got going on there. You know, you don't have to look at this pretty face if you don't want to, but you can follow along. You can watch my screen, and we're just going to walk through the process. Any questions so far? Are you guys good to go? She's moving closer, so her snoring is going to get louder. Just want to throw that out there. All right. So really, whenever you guys want to log in, for those, if you have not yet, it's the most important question of the day. How do I log in again? You simply go to appfiles.com on whatever browser you want to use. Under the AppFiles login button, right? When you click on that, you put in your email address, your password, and you get logged in. Okay. Now, AppFiles itself was built to be simple and easy to use. Okay. You only have 2 screens, so you guys cannot get lost. All right. I promise you can't get lost. So the first screen here is just kind of your home screen. Now, if you guys are looking with me, I do run 5 monitors here. My camera is right in front of me, so you do things on multiple screens here. So if you see me kind of looking around, I'm not ignoring you guys, I promise. All right, so on the home screen, just quickly talking about this screen here. All right, the left-hand side is just kind of your pipeline. All right, now I don't have the green square around it. You guys are seeing my screen, right? Okay, just want to double check. So the left-hand side is just kind of your pipeline. All right, what's going on within your business? All right, as agents, you guys see just your information. All right, so our jobs are to go to the agent workspace. All right, that's where we create files. Is it a buyer? Is it a seller? Is it a tenant? Is it a landlord? What type of transaction is it going to be? Okay. Then you have a broker inbox, right? You move it down in the broker inbox, it starts getting reviewed. It may go down into an incomplete section. It may go down into current, and then it'll eventually go down into closed, okay? The easiest way to explain these sections here, think of each red section, like the agent workspace, think of that as a filing cabinet, okay? Each one of these blue sections underneath it are drawers within that filing cabinet. When you have numbers next to them, that's how many files are in that drawer within that filing cabinet. All right, the old digital filing system. Now the middle portion of the screen, all right, this holds your recent activity. Now what recent activity is, it's kind of like your Facebook feed, right? So you can kind of see, what the neighbor's kids got on their spelling test last Friday, what they had for dinner last night, so forth and so on, right? But with us, recent activity is a note that gets put in, right? It's an email that goes in or out. It's a file type change. Everything gets time and date stamped and stays in a chronological order forever, all right? The right-hand side of the screen is going to be your 10 most recently created files over here. All right. We also do have a calendar feature built in as well. The most important button on this home screen, as agents, you guys will spend 5–10% of your time on this screen, right? But the most important button on here is, even though your admin team and everybody is amazing, we have a full team that is here to support you as well. I have 6 full-time support staff. I've got 2 up in Port St. Lucie, 1 in Jupiter, the mainly are here in Palm Beach, and 1 over in St. Pete. But if you need help, there's a AppFile support button on the top. Okay. When you click on the AppFile support button, there's 2 ways to get in touch with us. 1, pick up the phone and call us. Even though it's a 1-800 number, we do not outsource our support department. Everything is done in-house. It rings 6 cell phones at one time. Okay. Somebody's at the office Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5. We're also on call up until 9, maybe 10 o'clock, depending on how busy we are every night. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we're on call from 9 to 9. Now, we don't sit in front of the computer on, a 12-hour day on the weekends. We do check in about every 3 hours, so we are here to help you out. Last month, our answer rate was about 89.7% answering on their first ring, right? If we're busy, we may ask you to leave a voicemail. Please leave a voicemail. Don't do like I do and hang up, because I hate leaving voicemails, right? Leave a voicemail. It will trigger an email notification for everybody, and our response time is less than 12 minutes to get back to you, okay? If you don't want to call us, you can always send us an email. Hey, tell us what happened, right? Contact me by phone, by email, and that bottom one right there, yes, that says, what is your emotional state? All right. Everybody gets a kick out of that, right? Now, the reason we ask you this, okay, it's not going to change how fast we respond. So you think if you're going to get a quicker response by saying you're angry, you're just going to get a different response. And I'll explain that in just a second, right? So if you say, hey, I'm curious, send me an email, we'll send you an email. But if you say that you're frustrated, upset, panicked, or angry, we'll pick up the phone and call you. All right. And the reason for that is, as humans, right, our psyche is very unique, to the point where if you're truly frustrated, upset, panicked, or angry, we lose the ability for reading comprehension. All right. If you're angry and you're trying, it's 5 o'clock on Friday, you're trying to get something done, and we send you an email, and I say, hey, Jordan, do me a favor, take a left. Jordan's going to be like, that dude doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to the right. And she's going to go from angry to really mad at the drop of a dime, right? It's not an option. Okay. Our job is to never just answer your questions. It's to make sure that you leave the phone happy. All right. Every single day, like I said, we've got 65,000 or so users of AppFiles. Every single day, about 48,000 people just like yourself log into the AppFiles system every single day. Okay. I average 67 calls a day for help. Pick up the phone and call us. We'll be here for you. All right. Any questions so far on the home screen? All right. So is there anybody the first time logging in? Is it the first time anybody's logged in and seen AppFiles? All right, Kat, so this question is for you. All right. So on the home screen here, there's 3 ways to do it, right? If we wanted to create a new app file, what do you think we do?
Click that button that says create a new app file.
Look at there, right? We try to make this easy, and we put it in 3 places, depending on, it's very cool. Like the last 2 days, I trained a brokerage in 4 different classes yesterday. And it's funny to see how people's minds work, because we put create new app file here on the left. There's also a new app file button on the top, and there's also one over here on the right. So depending, it's kind of cool to see where people's eyes go to. I always use the one on the left, okay? It says create new app file. So when we click on that, we ask you guys for a couple of pieces of information, okay? So now the way we name our files, looks like you guys do it by property address, all right? So if you're gonna create your own files, I just ask you to put the word test in up front. That way I know what I can delete after the training, all right? And then I'm going to make up a address, right? I'm just gonna sell 123 Main Street, all right? So now we're gonna ask you, well, what type of file is it? So in the drop-down menu here, hey, is it a buyer? Is it a seller, right? Is it a tenant? Is it a landlord? What type of transaction are we gonna be working with? I'm going to create a seller's file today, okay? So now these sections right here, think of these are just what we call description fields, okay? Description fields is kind of, think of the label that you're putting on a file, okay? For quick reference, everything in here is searchable from your home screen. If it says required, we have to put that information in, right? So we said, all right, well, we're doing a seller's file. Well, what type of residential listing paperwork will you be needing? So under the drop-down menu, you have some choices. Is it a single family home? Is it a piece of vacant land, right? Each one of these is a different set of required items from a compliance standpoint. So we're just going to choose single family home. Now, all this other information here, all right? If you don't have it right away, you don't have to put it in now. You can always come back in later, right? But everything in here is searchable from your home screen, okay? Now, if you guys are anything like me, thank God Zoom puts the names next to your guys' pictures. That way I can remember them, right? Because I literally have 3 kids and I have 4 dogs. It takes 8 names to get one person to respond. Normally it's incorrect, all right? But I remember things about people, all right? So Miss Jen Cook, what type of dog were you holding earlier?
It's a Shih Tzu, remember?
Oh, that's right. Because I can never.
You can't spell it.
I think that's right, right? Shih Tzu?
Yep.
Yeah. Such a hard one. I forgot about it. Because I asked her last time. I always say Shih Tzu. But anything in the other notes helps me remember things about people. And I'll explain why that's important a little bit later on the training, right? So any types of other notes, you know, maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's don't put psycho seller, you know, or anything like that, because everything would pop up, right? But anything that helps you remember things about people, because people love to be cared about, all right? So you kind of put the special notes in there, and I'll explain why that's important in a second. So then we say, all right, well, I'm going to go next, right down the bottom. Now this screen here just tells us, hey, who has access to my file, right? It's a file access screen. So on the right-hand side is people that have access. So your name will be there. And then you have your broker and all your other admin staff, because they're here to help you guys out. Everybody on the left-hand side of the screen, all right, those are all your agents in your office, all right? So if you guys were working on a team or something like that, you know, I could scroll down, and if I wanted to add Jen Cook, I could add Jen to this file, and we could share this file, all right? We could work on it together. But I can also not share with her either. Don't play well with others, all right? So once we're happy with that, we just scroll down to the bottom and hit Create App File, okay? So this is screen number 2, all right? So if you're in a screen, if I go one tab back to the left here, we just open a new tab across the top. If you're in a blue background with the AppFiles logo, you're on your home screen. If you're in a screen that looks like a little manila envelope in the background, little file folder, you're in your transaction, right? That's a file. So that's how we create a file. All right. Now I know while doing that, it took 5 or 6 minutes to get through that process because I talked too much. Once you guys are comfortable, you can knock out files within, 10, 15 seconds, right? It's easy to create a file. We'll talk about the anatomy of this screen real fast. All right. So this screen also has 3 sections. The left-hand side of the screen has everything to do with paperwork. All right. Now, Kat, if you want to, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, because I'm going to ask you a question in about 45 seconds. That way you don't have to go, just hold on a second. Just wait right there, all right? So everything on the left-hand side deals with paperwork. The middle portion of the screen on the bottom is going to be recent activity that's important to this transaction, okay? We do have a tasking system built in. The file access screen, who can see my information? We put it right in the middle right here, all right? I can also add a user this way, all right? This is the description fields, my file name, my file type, and all the important notes, all right? All the searchable fields, we put them right there in the middle. Okay. On the right-hand side, it's going to hold contact data, some photos, and a few extra tools that we built in, all right? Again, most important button on this screen, there's an app file support button. If you need help, pick up the phone and call us. It's right there. There are also orange help buttons throughout the system that have quick reference guides as well as videos, depending on how you guys learn, okay? So we created a file. That was step number 1. Step number 2, Miss Kat, everything on the left-hand side deals with paperwork, right? So if I want to add forms, what do you think I do?
I want to add a form.
Yep,
Click on that green button that says add form.
So this is pretty hard so far, right? Yes. So we click on the add forms button,
That was a tough one.
right? When you click on the add forms button, this is your complete digital forms library, okay? So you've got all of your Florida forms in here, all right? All kind of forms. There's 166 Florida forms, all right? If you want to scroll through all of them, have fun, all right? We even have some in-house forms in there for you as well. We do have a search for forms button, right? If you just type in like as is, it'll start weeding out all the forms that are in there, okay? We also have some forms packages, right, that the brokerage created for you. Hey, here's a condo listing kit, a home listing kit, right? So we're going to do a home listing kit. These are all the potential forms you could use, okay? If you want to see what these forms are, there's a magnifying glass next to each one, all right? If you click on that magnifying glass, it'll blow up the first page so you can see it. Click anywhere on the screen, it goes away. And then you can just select form. So I want to add in a exclusive right of sale listing agreement. And I'm going to add in a seller's disclosure, just so we've got a couple of forms in there. Once you add multiple forms in, they will default and add as a single merge form. All right, the single merge form is nice because as you start typing, it'll fill in the rest of the way down for you. If you've got 10 forms that you want to get signed, you can send one email for with all 10 forms, so forth and so on, right? You can also, the green lines, there's drag and drop. You can put them in a different order if you want. Once we're happy with that, we just go down to the bottom and hit add selected forms. So when you hit add selected forms, guess what? We just completed step 2. So we created a file and we just added in some forms. All right. Now looking through these forms here, you can see that all the forms are digital. All right. All the forms have different areas on them. You can see here, right? This is seller 1, this is seller 2. And if you notice, this is like an orange or a peach color, depending on how your screen displays it. What this is we call it a multi-form field, right? So as you start typing here, it'll fill in the rest of the way down these forms, right? Now, as I start typing, you'll notice there's not a save button. When I tab, the document automatically saves, all right? When I click on a new field, the document automatically saves. If you were 3/4 away of filling out this, your power went out, you lost power, whatever, you could literally log in on your cell phone, be right where you left off at. You don't lose anything, okay? The only time you may see a save button is if it's a paragraph like the street address, right? You can type in the address. Then you have to hit save changes. That way, when it's a paragraph, we pop it up so it makes it a little bit bigger for you, okay? Now we're going to play pretend that this is filled out, okay? This is not a contract class. I'm not an agent nor a broker. I'm barely certified to teach this class, all right? So if you guys have any questions about filling out contracts, please direct that to your broker and your admin staff. They're there to help you guys out. I got to throw that out there, all right? So if your client's sitting in front of you, it's very simple. You could even have them on your iPad and be like, hey, sign this. They can do a true blue ink wet signature if they wanted to, all right, with their finger or their stylus. But more importantly, you need to email it away, right? That's how we do it. The majority of the time, all right, we have to email away for signatures. Right on the top of the document, there is a blue button that says, hey, I want to request signatures. We click on that. The first thing that pops up are all the instructions on how to do a single party and a 2-party request, okay? If you guys would like to read those, feel free. I am a typical man. I don't need directions. I get lost all by myself, all right? Shocker, right, Lynn? All right, so I'm just going to skip that right here on the bottom. We're going to hit start a signature request. All right. Now, a signature request, the process is either a 3 or a 4-step process. And I'll explain the difference in just a second. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is put the signer's full name in. All right, I'm going to put my name in here. And then we say, well, we want to activate the following signature fields. So I'm going to be the seller number 1, seller signature, right? If you had a husband and wife, you would do 1 request for seller signature and then a second separate request for seller signature 2. All right. On the right-hand side, I'm going to choose seller initials. All right. Now you do have to, like there's one like the seller opt-out. If you want that, you got to check that as well. Now you can either scroll down to the bottom of the screen and hit next, or you can click on the tabs across the top. It'll take you to the exact same place. Okay. Now the client editing, this is the step that does not always appear. As you can see, I'm a bad agent. I didn't fill out certain information, right? I can ask my client to fill out certain information, or I can make them fill it out, okay? So if you make that required, your client will not be able to sign until they fill out that information. So I'll show you how that works, okay? The next thing is your message. Hey, what are you gonna say and who are you gonna send it to? Your clients will get an email from signature requests at AppFiles, right? And it'll have your information like this right here in it. In the to section, you can type in here if you want. You can also use the drop-down menu. Right now, it just has all the users that have access. We're going to get to the contact data in a few minutes, right? But if I use this contact data on the right-hand side, it would appear here as well. Okay. So I'm just going to send it to my email address. Now in the subject line, we put in their signature request for, and it fills in the person's name. If you want, you can change this. Okay. This is a message we put in. If you like it, great. You can customize it yourself. Just don't delete that word that says link, okay? That is a placeholder for the secure link that you're sending them. If you delete that, you'll get a little message at the end that says, you foobarred, you got to redo it. All right. Last step is your notifications. Who's going to get notified when my signers are done filling this out? Your name will automatically be checked. If you wanted to alert anybody else, like if I wanted to alert Lynn, I could check her name. She would get notified as well when my signer's done. Lynn probably doesn't want me to send her any more emails because she gets enough. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom and hit request signature. Now, when I do, if you had a spouse, this is where you would go in. You know, there's a signature request. There's a little pin out here. It says 1. If you had a spouse or a seller number 2, anything like that, you just hit start a request, knock it out again. Okay. Once you're comfortable sending out signature requests, again, it took me a few minutes to do it. You can knock one out in 15, 20 seconds, right? You can get them super fast. You can also tell that there's a signature request out because over here in the background where the forms and documents go, you can see the exclusive right sale listing agreement has a little pin out there. We also have a tab on your home screen right here that says signature request, and you can see what is out that way as well. All right. So now going back to my file here, if I scroll down just a little bit, you get what we call as an active individual signature request tab. Okay. What this does here is turn you guys into stalkers. All right. Because this tells you who did I send it to, the email in which I sent it to, and when I created the link. This part right here, what says link status not visited. Every time they click on the link in the email, it'll refresh to a new time and date. Right. So if you get that one client that's not signing, you call them up and be like, hey, Joe, why haven't you filled out that contract yet? Why haven't you signed it? I'm like, man, I didn't even get your email yet. Be like, liar, you opened it 6 minutes ago. Don't really say that though, because it really does make you look like a stalker. All right. But it'll let you know how many signatures, how many initials, even how many required fields right here. This is the link you're sending them. Okay. So maybe something happens. I was covering support, several months ago on a Sunday, and there was an agent that called up and he was freaking out because he couldn't get a $1.2 million contract signed. So we got his client on the phone. Come to find out, it wasn't an AppFiles issue at all. She was in the Everglades at her fish camp. She had no Wi-Fi. Her laptop wasn't working. For some reason, she didn't have her email on her phone. I asked her if I could text her. I texted her, this is my personal phone. I texted her from this number. She says she got it. I copied this link right here. I put it in a text message. She was still able to sign. All right. It'll still work. You can put it in a private Facebook message, your own email, anything like that. It'll just work. Okay. If I go to my email now, I'm going to refresh it here. I've got an email from signature request at AppFiles that says changes, right? If I click on that, that message looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? It says type your own message here. Please review the document on the below link. When I click on the link, the document just opens up. I don't ask your clients to create a username, a password. They don't have to log in, any of that stuff, right? You can see they can't sign it right now, right? Because I did a required field. See where it says required fields, 1 remaining? Go to page, it'll take them to that page right there. When I tab, it says, hey, you're done. Congratulations, go out to the top, right? So if we go up to the top, you can see now it says click here to sign. I apologize. 1 minute. Hey. Son just got home from school. Sorry about that. All right. So now to let you know, they've got 9 initials and 2 signatures left. But if you notice, if I start scrolling through here, hey, my agent didn't put the list price in, right? In most cases, you would have to cancel the request, remove the template, put it back in your forms program, and then start all over again. I'm going to show you the power of AppFiles. I'm going to leave this open as my seller. Okay. I'm going to leave, this is my email. As the agent, Okay, I'm going to come back to my signature request here and click edit fields. Means I want to change something on this document, right? So if I were to put in here, let's list this for 500,000. All right. So just by tabbing, the document saves. If I go back to my email and refresh my screen, right? Just hit the refresh button. You guys should see a change. All right. So the document itself is live. Now I take it one step further than that, right? So your clients can either click on each individual square to sign. All right. Like right now there's 9 initials. Then click on initial next, initial all, right? So if I were to say, hey, I want to click on this one. If they do any one of those 3 the first time, we have to say the legal terms and conditions, right? Accept. Since I'm on a computer, allow me to do my type initials, okay? Choose whatever font I want. All right, like the one on the bottom. I have to accept that it's legally binding as my in-person signature, right? So now I'm taking right back up to the top. But now watch this. I don't know if, Lynn, you might not even know this. Some people learn this on a that's been using it, right? So you can see there's an initial on this page. As soon as there's one initial on, normally it'll lock that page down, right? So say if we wanted to make another change and my client calls me and says, you know what, Kevin, I know we got it listed for 550. Let's try to take advantage of this market one last time. Let's go 625, right? And they always want to go crazy, right? So if I come back as the agent, watch this. If I click edit fields, since there's an initial on that page, I can't make any changes, not even as the agent, right? But watch how cool this is. See how the red X is? This is my seller. The seller can remove their own signatures and initials if need be, right? And now as the agent, if I refresh, guess what? The form is now digital again, right? So it quits the back and forth stuff, right? You guys can just, it saves you most valuable asset, right? So we would come in here and put, hey, 625. Come back to the signature request, refresh, and you can see the change is now 625. All right, so that, like I said, the Excel is live. Awesome, Miss Lynn. All right, so we can click initial next. I'm going to show you how to initial all. Okay, if we click on initial all, there's a 2-part disclaimer. You know, hey, Jordan, I didn't know I was signing in multiple spots. What the heck, right? Yes, they did, because they have to accept and accept. Okay, it's a 2-step process. It's kind of a CYA. Now, since they're on a computer, again, it allows them to type it. If they're on a smart device, it allows them to do a true blink wet signature. If you're amazing with a mouse, you can try to do it. All right. All right, so we're just going to come back here. I'm going to hit initial all again, kind of walk through this process, right? Now, as soon as we're done with the initials, it'll take them right back up to the top of the page. Says, hey, that's great, but now you got 2 signatures, right? So I'm just going to go through, hit sign all, and just kind of complete this process. Now, I know I did that kind of fast, so you guys will have some homework. Go home, go home tonight and send yourself a signature request. Click on every button. That's the easiest way to learn AppFiles, right? So as soon as your signer is done signing, 3 things happen at the exact same time. The first thing that happens, it allows your customer to print or download it, which they're probably not going to do, okay? If I go back to my email and refresh, I should have a couple of more emails, all right? One says AppFiles alert, signature completed. This is what you, the requester, would get, right? It says, hey, my signer is done. Any email you get internally from AppFiles where it says view your form at, if you click on that link, it'll take you directly to that file. All right. The third thing the system does is send your client an email that says signature completed, and there's a PDF attachment, right? So when they open up this email, it says, hey, thanks for signing. We're attaching a copy for your records, right? Because time of acceptance is time of delivery, not time of signature, right? Now it's been delivered to them. So I come back to my file here. I'm just going to refresh here. All right. So we created a file. We added in some forms. We did an extra step of getting them signed. Now we just need to turn it into the office. All right. Really, really hard to do. There's a couple different ways. Since their forms are electronic like this, you get a fancy button right here that says split forms. Okay. When we click on split forms, we know how many pages each one is, right? So there's 2 there. Select all. And now we just tell the system where this is going to go, right? Because these are placeholders back here. We just got to put stuff in here. They're gray. So the exclusive right of sale listing agreement, transaction broker, if I hit the drop-down menu, is simply going to go to my executed listing agreement. Right? My seller's real property disclosure statement fillable is going to go to my seller's disclosure. Right? Once I hit split forms, it's going to say, hey, we split them all out for you. That's great. They have now gone from down here and they are up into my checklist. All right, you see that they turn blue. So our job as agents is to make sure we either, fill out the forms through the ad forms, upload, email in. We just make sure all of these gray sections turn blue. Okay. Any questions on that? Nobody fell out of their chair yet, so kudos to you guys. All right. So again, just to kind of recap, right? We created a file, we added in some forms, and we submitted them to the checklist. Okay. So now the digital stuff is awesome, right? But sometimes you have to work with paper because paper's never going to go away, right? Maybe you go out to a listing appointment, Miss Kim, and that client looks at you and says, you know what? My brother-in-law's identity was stolen, 8 months ago. I hate technology. Well, you're going to pull out paper, right? Because that's what they're comfortable with. Or a real world scenario. I've got the listing. Miss Kim, you got the buyer. What are you going to do? You're going to email me the contract, right? That's the way it normally works. So we can there's 3 ways to get information into AppFiles, okay? So first way we do it is by scanning a document, all right? We have the ability to control most desktop scanners, all right? So with it, if you get one of the cute little all-in-ones, I say we can work with most, not all, right? When you hit the scan a document button, right, the system will search for your scanner. It's got to be on the same Wi-Fi. My scanner is in my wife's office right over there, right? We might just need to download what we call a Twain driver, T-W-A-I-N. It's made through Dynamsoft. We'll walk you through the process, okay? If we can communicate with your scanner, you just simply load the paper in your scanner, hit that button. AppFiles will talk to the scanner, tell it to start, set the resolution, and place it in the file. All you got to do is name the document, okay? The second way is by uploading files, right? If I click on upload files, it's the same browse feature we've used for years, all right? So let's see here. I've got a couple of things in here. Let me see here. Let's add in, let's see here. Now there should be an MLS in here somewhere, right? MLS report, open. All right, hit it, start upload. So just like that, if you click uploaded paperwork, it goes into uploaded paperwork. All right, if I open up the MLS report, we're still processing the image there. Look at that though. I just added in documents that time. All right, very simple. Now, we just need to submit this, right? Because there's a placeholder for the MLS report, the MLS listing sheet. All right, these are good to use because this is a CYA. That right, when you guys get to the closing and all of a sudden you're like, hey, why am I getting 2.5%? All right, that way, print these out. That way you kind of cover it. Okay. Now I need to submit this to my checklist, right? So I can either click on this button right here that says submit. All right. I can do it that way. I'm going to show you 3 ways to do it. So use the submit button. Right here in the section, it pulls up the same list as well. All right. And if anybody there likes to drag and drop things, everybody likes to drag and drop, you can click on manage paperwork, all right? Drag and drop it into place. All right. So you can hit the submit button, you can hit the AppFiles section button, or you can drag and drop it in place through manage paperwork. Everybody still tracking on that? Didn't lose anybody yet? Jennifer's like, I got this, man. All right. But more importantly, so we can scan, we can upload, more importantly, we can email, right? All of our communications nowadays come via emails. Like nobody wants to pick up the phone anymore. So how do I get an email in? Every time you guys create a file, each file gets a unique email address, okay? My file right now is 15915. You guys have been around so long, there's 15,915 files in your account, all right? 15915 at remaxstewart.appfiles.com. Okay, so now if you had an email that you want to send in here, it's very simple to do. all you do is click this copy button, right? You'll get a little check mark. You go into your email, find whatever email you want. Let's do this one. It's a counter offer, right? Then we're just going to forward that email. Okay, just by it like that. Once I hit send, the email gods take over and it's going to email directly into AppFiles. Okay. Now, anytime you guys email things, and a lot of people think that emails are like instantaneous, right? It's like, if I hit send, they're there already, but it's not. It's got to go up into space. It's got to hit a moving target, and then it comes back to you, right? So give a few seconds. If we click on refresh page right here, it's an internal AppFiles refresh button, right? So I clicked on refresh page. Just now, you can see I emailed something in. All right, see the PDF attachment that's there? Everything in the middle portion of the screen, okay, is there for historical purposes. All right. But since we knew that there's a counter offer there, if you guys look to the left-hand side of my screen here, under emailed paperwork, you'll see that the counter offer is there now. All right. So if I open up that counter offer, just like that, I added in another document. Okay. Any questions on the email process? You don't have to just email in documents either. You can email in photos like that. In any correspondence, say you've got a whole daisy chain of information, right? A whole email, forward that in if it's important to this transaction, right? That way everything is stored in one place. You can even go in and put notes, right? So maybe if it's a big long daisy chain, see how it says add comment right here? You can be like, email about included furniture, right? Make the comment. That way it just makes it easier so you know exactly what's in that email, right? Little tips and tricks. But now on the counter offer, we have to have the ability to work with paper, right? Maybe we got to do a strike through. We got to do a counter offer. We got to split some documents apart. We got to merge them back together. How do I do all of that, right? So there's two ways. One is called edit pages, means I want to change all 12 pages somehow, all right? So if I click on edit pages, maybe they're out of order. I can click on organize and then just drag and drop everything back into place, all right? I can split pages apart, right? I can hit this, hit split pages, all right? This is page 1. Hit create. All we're going to do is rip that document away. Right. Over here in the background, you can see I got a counter offer, and now I have a page 1. All right, I just ripped it out. You can delete these pages if you want, and don't worry if you guys delete something by accident, we just hide it from you. Call the support line. We'll pull it back from the servers, place it back in your file, and you'll never even know. All right. Now we can also, on the top of page 1 here, on the top of every page, there's a blue edit button. Okay. The blue edit button, all right, if I click on that, it says, hey, I want to change something on this page. Now, first thing to do, it'll tell you I like to save a copy. That way you're working on a copy, not the original, so you have chain of events. All right, we hit start conversion. I'll tell you how long it's going to take. It's literally not going to take 6 minutes and 10 seconds, like I said. It'll open up a little box on the left-hand side. Okay, so if you guys want to do a single line strike through, it's right here. Single line, point and click. All right, this is like our version of Adobe. All right, you can make it shorter if you want. Now, since I made a change, I can add in new text. All right, so I do text, just kind of point and click. There's 265. We want to make it big and bold so they know we're not playing around. All right. Now, since we made a change, we need initials. Hey, I want the buyer's initials with the date, place. It's just point and click. Okay. Now, sometimes it may happen. This came up in a couple of questions. The last couple of trainings I did is, hey, I've got a trust. I've got 3 buyers. I've got 3 sellers. All right. The biggest one yesterday, they said they had 7. They're like, what do I do with 7 sellers? I'm like, get creative. All right. But how do I add in different things, right? So under the add initials, if I scroll down to the bottom of the page, it says new initials. I can say, hey, this is going to be buyer 3 place, and then you can just point and click. All right. Any questions on that? No? All right then. I'm just going to close out of that. So now we've been talking for 49 minutes. I have never left the left-hand side of the screen. All right, you can see the system itself is very robust, right? We can do a lot for you guys. And everything on the left-hand side deals with paperwork, okay? So now I'm going to kind of jump over a little bit out of order, all right? File information. Some of your agents in your office use it, some do not. I want to tell you, the more information you can put into AppFiles, the more information you can get out of it, okay? It's there to help you guys out. Because say like right now with Miss Lynn, right? So I have a second seller on this, right? And her name is Mindy. I'm going to say this soft because that's my wife and she's right over there, right? But maybe I'm going to say, I'm going to create an update right here, right? Create an update, be like, Lynn, can you call Mindy for me, please? She is hard to deal with. No, I'm kidding, right? So if I were to put this note in here, right, and I alert Lynn, okay, this is great for inter-office communications, right? So I'm going to alert Lynn, all right? You can tell that I alerted somebody because here's the message. It says one user alerted, and it's also pink, all right? If you just do regular update, all right, without alerting anybody, it's just a white, right? Pink means you alerted somebody. So Miss Lynn is going to get that message in her email, and then she's probably going to respond back, say, yes, I'll call Mindy, but what's her information? How do I get in touch with her? All right. So if you see this master seller template, there's nothing there right now, right? But if you click on the edit button, this will fill out an entire contract. There's buyer's information, seller's information, total commissions, brokerage fees, you name it, title companies, escrow companies, it's all there, okay? So now we do also have the ability to import the values as well, okay? So if I click on import values, I can import from a form. Hey, the exclusive listing agreement has 7 values. I want to pull that in. Start import, done. So you can see I'm starting to build my file, right? So if I were to come in here and just start typing some information, just go through this entire thing here, right? And yes, Mindy does work for AppFiles too. So if you guys call in the support, you may get to talk to her as well. But you can put all this information in here. Doesn't matter. You just put it all. These are my mad typing skills, all right? I know they're fast, right? But you can put everything in here. The more information you put in, the more information you can get out, okay? Now you notice there's also copy buttons. Like if you wanted to send an email, all right, you can literally just copy this, or you can click on compose an email that way, all right? But also if we were gonna do it, remember I said if you wanted to do a signature request, all right? I'm gonna start a request, and under the message, if I click this drop-down menu, the file information is there now, right? So you don't have to remember it, okay? So now what happens? Maybe this goes under contract, right? You're gonna add in an as-is contract. So watch this. I'm gonna add in forms here, all right? I'm gonna add in an as-is contract. Well, I don't want to retype all this because I already put it over there, right? So watch, I can import the values from info fields. There's 9 values. So just like that, I can pull the information. Okay. I'll really blow your guys' mind right now. Lynn, do you guys have preferred vendors or anything set up in the account? Like title companies and whatnot?
We do have preferred vendors. I don't know that they're set in here though.
Okay. Because what you can do is once information's in AppFiles one time, right? You can actually import values, say from a form, right here where it says source app file. You can highlight that and delete it and actually pull information from other files as well.
So let me ask you this.
Yep.
Our company holds escrow. So Deidre is our escrow agent.
Okay.
So does that automatically pull over or do I need to put that someplace so that way they can just click and it goes in there without having to type all of that in?
Now, the word automatic is kind of dangerous. We try to stay away from that in programming.
Okay.
Just because automatic means auto magical, right? Because it's still going to get put in there one time.
Okay.
So if you were to create, you could create a file. So say if we were to go in here, right? And here, let me kind of show you this way, right? So if I were to go in, I'm going to switch an account real fast and say, see how I have a preferred vendors file here that
Right.
says title companies? You could put different, you could make like an escrow, right? And put all the Deidre stuff in here. So see how it says like main title and everything else, right?
Mhm.
So if I was in a file, I'm going to get in here and maybe if I'm going to add in a new section, right? I can even add in, let's add in a master seller template just to kind of show you, right? I can import the values, but I want to pull it from info fields. And once I delete this, I can start typing title companies, right? Choose the file. You can see there's ABC title and then there's main title.
Mhm.
You'd be like, you know what? I'm working with main title this time. So choose, start import, done. So I actually just pulled all of this information from that file.
So each agent could set up their own file for, I mean, because they don't have to use a title company I like. What if it's
Right.
somebody that they want to use, so they can set it up and pull that in each time if
Yeah.
that's who they decide to use.
Yeah, so just gonna expand on that. The brokerage I was at yesterday, they actually created preferred vendors files for the agents. They have 386 preferred vendors.
Okay.
I mean, title companies, mortgage companies, all the way down to cleaning ladies. I call them janitorial engineers. You know, whatever. They created these files. That way you can pull all the information from there over.
Lynn, I don't know. I mean, when I first started, for some reason, it auto populates Deidre's information for the escrow for me. So
Okay.
I don't know if Jennifer set that up for me or what happened, but
Basically, I was just using that for an example.
So Jen, let me ask you real quick, where does it auto populate in for you?
it goes into the master seller template and then I can just pull it from there. I believe. I know I've never typed in Deidre's information and it went on my contract for me.
Gotcha. Now it'll go on the contract for you.
If,
I'm going to show you. Okay.
If that's the company I choose, if that's who's doing the.
Yeah, because it won't automatically go in. Hold on just a second here. It won't automatically go in anywhere without doing a couple different things. Okay. So basically what we can do, just a second here. All right. There's a couple different things you can do. You could create a master file that has it in there and you can click copy this app file, right? Give it a new name, pick and choose the contents and create it that way. We can also use form values. All right. You as the agents can have individual form values just like the brokerage can. I'll show you that towards the end of the class, right? Or Jen, you could create like I said, you could create your Jen's preferred vendors and go in and add everything in there and you can pick and choose that way.
Where was the preferred vendors that you can add in?
You can actually just go in here. There should be let me see here. Let me see, create a new file. If it's not in there, we can always add one in if the brokerage wants us to. I don't see a preferred vendors in there. Hold on just a second. I'm just looking on another screen real quick. Yeah, I don't see a preferred vendor section. We can create one, Lynn. I can help you with that if you want. And have access to, the agents can have access to that file type. That way you guys can go in and create your own, and create like template accounts. Just makes it a little bit easier for you.
Right. And I'll get that addressed.
Yeah. It just makes it easier because, especially if you have somebody brand new, Lynn, that who was the one, Kat, were you brand new there? Okay. So maybe Kat goes, hey, Lynn, I need a plumber. Who do we work with again? Hey, Lynn, I need a roofer. I need a painter, right? Because you're making all these new contacts, right, Kat? So it's like you can there's some brokers that creates those preferred vendors files and puts all the information in, right? That way you can just pick and choose what you want to bring over. Cool. All right, so again, contact data, we do not market to your clients. I like to say that again. I do not sell off your data. The more information you put in AppFiles, the better off it is, okay? It'll save you guys some time. Creating an update. It doesn't just have to be anytime you talk to somebody, document. I could pull up your guys' account, all right? Here, this is Remax of Stuart's account, all right? I can show you, well, not this one. Hold on a second. I don't want to show that one. This one right here. I can get in and show all of your users and everything else, but I can go to view all. There's 123 pages of activity that goes back to 2013. Every single transaction, conversation we've had with your brokerage over the last, 10 years, it is all here. Every single web request, every single support ticket, we keep track. We use AppFiles to run AppFiles. That is the power, right? I have never been an agent. I have never been a broker, but I was in the medical field for a long time. I worked for a hospital system for 15 years. I also worked at Satellite Beach Fire Department as I was a state and nationally certified EMT firefighter, right? So I kind of look at real estate just like the medical field, where if you don't document things, it didn't happen, right? You've got 8 people there that are reviewing paperwork. If something happens a year and a half from now, guarantee it's not a paperwork issue. It's going to come down to that he said, she said, right? Be like, oh, I spoke to Kim and she said this. And you're like, oh, look, I'm going to go to view all. Be like, oh, yeah, I spoke to you on, January 11th of 2023 at 1:02. And this is the conversation we had. You could read it back almost word for word, right? They don't have a leg to stand on if that happens.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
We also have them, and if you can show them how to copy their emails from their whatever email their program they're using into the app file, so that we'll ask them to drop all their regular email correspondence into the app file so that we can have a total paper trail.
Yep. And it's the same way we did when we emailed in, the counter offers and whatnot. You can go in and say, hey, I'm going to copy this, and maybe I will bring over my regular email here. All right. And say, hey, this is a lot busier here. Maybe this email here. I don't even know what this is, right? I can forward this email to that email address. All right. Again, so you have everything in one place, right? If your email box looks like my email box, then you're trying to spend, 5 hours going through and trying to find an email. And what I like about that as well is just like I said earlier, when you email something in, it comes directly into the file, right? But I like to put notes in there. If it's a big daisy chain email, all right, now you got to scroll through. Like I could show you, like Lynn, the email that you had back and forth with Amy. I knew there was a link to a Zoom link in there somewhere. So I'm like opening up that daisy chain email going, okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So I was looking for it this morning. All right. This is just something I like to do, is I like to put comments on the emails. That way it just helps, helps you guys out a little bit and makes you find stuff a little easier. Any questions on that? So you can see just now, I just sent in this email. All right. And again,
Thank you.
Any type of emails, like even if you're working in a file and Mindy were to say, hey, shoot me over an email. All right. There's a button right here that says compose an email. If we click on compose an email, we'll send emails on behalf of you. All right. So you can actually, in the to section, again, it's got the file information, all the administrators, the users, things like that. You can do the subject line, all this. It looks like it's coming from your email, right? If they respond, it goes back to your personal email, right? Then you can forward that email over, right? Because not all of your emails need to be in your FRET compliance folder if they don't need to be. Now, before Lynn jumps on me about that, is anybody not from Florida or not from Stuart? Everybody, you guys are all from right there? That's crazy. All right, then that's a bad example. How about you, Jen? She was probably.
I'm from Florida.
Whereabouts?
I'm Stuart.
Dadgum, that's crazy that you guys are all from Stuart. All right. So right now, Lynn is going to be from Pennsylvania because it's really cold up there. All right. So maybe Lynn's got a girlfriend up in Pennsylvania, right? Says, you know what? I'm tired of this cold weather. She shoots her over an email, says, Lynn, I'm coming down to Stuart. I want the warmth. I want the sunshine. I want something right on the water. I'm going to fly in town Friday afternoon. Friday night, let's go clubbing like the good old days. All right. Oh, yeah. Lynn's like, she's got the music on. Right. So, hey, let's go out. We're going to have some drinks and, you know, kick it like we were, you know, 22 again. Maybe if we're not too hungover Saturday, let's go look at houses. Guess what? I'm not going to forward that email in there because not all my emails need to be in the threat compliance folder if it's that type of email, right? But in the same thing, right? If you got somebody that you're showing a house to and says, you know what, Lynn, thank you so much for showing me X, Y, and Z properties. Let's offer this on Y. I'm definitely going to forward that into this file because now it shows procuring costs, right? So it's just a CYA, forward everything in there. And I think Pennsylvania is really cold this time of year. All right. Any questions? You guys good still so far? Nobody has fallen out of their chairs. So Jen said, since it's in AppFiles, do I need to keep it elsewhere? Are you talking about emails, Jen?
Yep.
It's up to you. Okay. Now me, and I'll explain why. Because are you an OCD person or a CDO person? Because it's got to be in order. Do you like, you guys probably don't get rid of anything. If I showed you my personal email again, this is my work email, right? I don't ever delete emails. See all these folders I have over here? I move all my emails into different folders. That way I have them, all right? So it all depends. If you want to take your emails and forward them into AppFiles, you don't have to keep them on your email if you don't want to, because you have them here, all right? It all depends on how you like to work. I know that may or may not answer your question, but.
Yeah, okay. Because I've been doing both and I wasn't sure, and it's kind of getting cluttered, and I'm only 2 years into it. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years.
Well, I'll give you a little insight. So our owner, his name is David. He'll be 50 in March. Very dear friend of mine. I told you it's a family owned and operated company, right? So I already told you my wife, her office is right over there, right through that door. There's another door right there. She works for AppFiles. The owner of AppFiles, he lives 110 yards that way. He lives right behind me. Him and his wife live right there. On the other side of him is our vice president and his wife. Her name is Stephanie. She works for AppFiles too. We have 12 acres here that all of our property touches each other. We have 12 acres that we share. So yeah, you should see David's email. What's your email going to look like in a few years? He's got like 21,000 unread emails. Last time I checked. 21,000. That would drive me insane. All right. So now one thing I forgot to do, Lynn, you guys still use the broker inbox, right? So you want the agents moving over to the broker inbox. I completely forgot about that because not all brokerages do that. So in a real world scenario, peoples, right? You would put all of this information in. I'm not going to do it today just for time's sake and whatever. Once everything was in here and this was ready to get reviewed, okay, you would come up here to where the change button is, right here in the middle, and you would change this file type, right, from a seller to new listing. Okay. So when we click new listing, we hit save changes. Okay. Now the admin team will start and go through the review process. All right. And then, like I said, it goes to new listing, and then it goes to like active listing, it goes pending. They'll start changing some file types around for you guys. Okay. Any questions on that? You doing all right, Miss Kim? All right. So we talked about the file access. The most important thing there is the file mailbox number, right? You can also add users this way. Like I said, you can, if you wanted to add in certain people, it's all done right here in the middle portion of this screen. Now, this section here, told you I put a note in there for Jen Cook there for a Shih Tzu, right? So maybe Jen calls me. It's been a couple of weeks, right? And I answer the phone. Thank you for calling. This is Kevin. How can I help you? They're like, hey, Kevin, how's it going? And the last thing we want to do in sales, right, is be like, who's this? right? So we start asking questions, be like, oh, hey girl, it's been a while. You know, what you been up to? How have things been? You know, she's like, all of a sudden you hear barking or something in the background. I'm like, oh, what's that? What type of dog do you have? Oh, I have a Shih Tzu. Now, right? That triggered my mind now, right? Watch this. So on my home screen, I have a search button right here. I can hit search, and maybe I just put in zoo. Finding files is very simple, okay? That's why that whole section in the middle there, those description fields come in very handy, because that's the only part within AppFiles that have completely searchable fields, okay? And it didn't have to be the whole word. It was just the last part, right? If we were to do something like me, I drive a Ram pickup truck, right? So maybe you put in your Ram 2500, right? If I come back to my search, I can just type in Ram. You can see finding files is a breeze, right? All right. So we talked about the left-hand side of the screen, everything to do with paperwork. We talked about the middle portion of the screen. We jumped over the right-hand side. Contact data is very, very important. Put it all in there. All right. Then we have a few extra tools as well. All right. So up here in the few extra tools, I already talked about the compose and email. Works great if you're working in a file real quick. You don't have to go jump to your email like I've been doing, right? You can just simply compose an email this way. All right. Copy this app file. This works great if you're working with the same property, the same investor, so forth and so on, right? If you want to, you can click copy this app file. You just give it a new name. All right. What type of file is it? And you can uncheck certain things. You hit create, it duplicates the entire file, saves you guys some time. All right. Linking a file, don't know if you guys do the, Lynn, does the agents use link in app file, or do you guys use it on the admin side? I'll put her on the spot.
Yeah, also, I'm not quite sure.
Not quite sure. So if you guys do, I'll just explain it real quick. What linking an app file allows you to do is normally, you know, if you've got the listing, right, and then you get lucky enough to bring the buyer too, right? Normally you would create two files for that. Is that correct, Lynn? All right, because you've got different fiduciary duties from the listing side to the selling side, right? So you would create a seller's file and a buyer's file. If you wanted to, I could link an app file, right? Search for files, and maybe I want to put it under, I'm not going to put it under any of these because you guys all have access to that, right? You just hit that, hit create link, and it does a link status right here. So if you're working on one file, you just click the other one, it opens right up. You don't have to go search for it. All right. Adding a web link. This is great. Like if you're housing things through Vimeo or YouTube, things like that, the property appraiser site, right? What you do is, say if I want to go here and go to the, let's see, I want to know what the Powerball numbers are. All right. I was a little upset. I did not win Mega Millions last night. All right. So all you got to do is copy the URL. All right. Just like that, up in the URL that's up there. Paste it in, hit create. It creates a secure link down on the bottom that takes you directly to that website. So if you guys do not play the lottery, I think the next Mega Millions is on Friday, and it's like $1.5 billion. Just throwing that out there. That's insane, isn't it? $1.5 billion. All right. So that itself, that's AppFiles in a nutshell, right? So what we covered today, we created a file, right? We added in some forms, we submitted them to the office, all right? We created a file, we added in some documents, right? From an outside source, we submitted them to the office. That's really the 3 steps of AppFiles. You master those, everything else comes, okay? Now, the easiest way to learn the system, listening to somebody, AKA Kevin, right? Talk about technology for an hour and a half, 2 hours, gets a little tedious. I try to make it fun. I try to make it exciting. Yes, I have bad dad jokes. I have 3 kids, right? But the easiest way to learn the AppFile system is to play with it, you know, and don't wait till you get a transaction. You guys can go in and create test files, right? It's called agent test files right there, right? You can actually go in and create a file, go into agent test files, click on every single button, see what it does, right? Because I'll even show you some more advanced stuff. Right. let's see here. Has anybody ever, Lynn, this may have happened to you too, I don't know. Sometimes like when you get stuff signed from an outside source, like a DocuSign or a dot loop or things like that. You guys ever, like if you upload it in AppFiles, it looks fine, right? But if you go to email it or download it, it comes up blank. Sometimes it happens, right? Lynn, that's happened to you? So basically what happens with that is the different companies, if you notice, like anytime you get something signed from an outside source like that, they auto wrap their stuff, right? Like DocuSign verified, dot loop verified, Authentisign verified, right? We don't automatically do that for the simple reason where if it is not required, my name, AppFiles, does not need to be on your paperwork. I don't need to market to your clients. I don't need to throw my name out there. That's the type of company we are, right? So you have the ability, like if you want to do a signature verification, anything that's signed through AppFiles, see this blue button right here? All right. If maybe a bank or a lender says, hey, we need to verify those signatures electronically. That's great. Use certificate of authenticity. All right. Be like, listing agreement verified, right? Once you hit generate report, we're going to capture the IP address, the email address. We're going to time and date stamp everything, wrap them, and provide a full report that is accepted by Fannie, Freddie, the FHA, the VA, accepted by everybody. Okay. So you can see like here, the document, it gives you a document ID. It'll wrap the initials. Okay. It'll wrap the signatures. All right. And it provides a full report. All right. That way you can send it over to the title company, whoever's asking for it, right? Just say, hey, in 12, almost 13 years, knocking on my wood desk here, our signature process has only been brought to a court of law, I believe, twice, and we won both times, right? So it's, because we capture, like I said, the IP address, who you sent it to, time and date stamped everything, whatnot. But now say something happens where if you go to download something, it does not print correctly, okay? You can go into the actions button here and you can actually, I can't do it here because it's not a document. It'll say flatten PDF, make a new copy. If you click flatten PDF, it'll actually remove all of the security stuff that people put on that's messing up the document, making it corrupt, and give you a brand new copy that'll work correctly for you, all right? All right, like this button here. This one's signed. Now say maybe it's the weekend, right? As the brokerage starts to review your stuff, these little sections here in the background may turn green. They turn into a lock, right? Because they lock down from a compliance standpoint. But you guys can always go under actions, even things that signed before, right? And you can actually copy them as well. Make fully editable, copy. Basically what that'll do is remove all the signatures and initials, right? Create a brand new copy that you can type on, but it still has the original that was signed. That way you have different copies as well if you want to work with it, all right? Pretty cool, huh? You guys ready to play with the system? I promise you can't break it.
Is there a way, like, I had some HOA documents that I needed to fill out, and then I needed the client to fill out for a little section. Is there a way to make that form editable?
Now, is that, so you uploaded something in? What,
I did.
Okay. So when you upload, remember this counteroffer that I uploaded here? All right. Mm-hmm. If you upload something, either scan, upload, or email, you click on that blue edit button, right? Mm-hmm. It'll tell you to make it editable. It'll pop up this little box here, right? So if I want to, where you were talking, right? So if you said, hey, I want to add in a text field and I want it to go right here, right? Normally you can type in here if you want to, but if you just want to leave it blank, watch this. This is some more advanced stuff, Jen. You ready? See where it says advanced options?
Okay.
Add to client editable fields.
Awesome.
I can check the box here. Okay. I can hit create. So now see how it's purple? Well, it was purple, right? So now if I wanted to send it away for signature, right? Watch this, request signature, start a request. Under the client editing, there's that field now. I can ask them to fill out the information or I can make them.
Got it. Got it.
So yes, you can make client editable fields.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bam, I love it when I can answer a question. And I didn't have to make anything up. What other questions? Come on. That was a good one, Jen. Anything else? Nobody else got any questions? No? No? All right. So we're going to get into, if you guys have app files there, we're going to get into your home, we're going to go to your home screen. I'm going to show you some of your personal settings if you guys haven't got in there and play with that yet. Okay. So under the app files logo on your home screen, it'll say my photo, and then it says settings. All right. So I click under the settings tab. We can adjust a few things. All right. One is your display name. It should be in there probably as your first and last name, because that's probably how the office puts you in. You know, if there's a nickname that the office knows you by, you can change it there if you want to. It's only internal. Only you, the other agents and the brokers can see it. Your agents do not see this. I mean, your clients do not see this at all. It's just you guys. It's internal. You can even have fun with it, like the user photo here. You can upload a picture of yourself. I know I don't look like that, but you can have fun with it again. It's internal. That's Lexi the bulldog. She was sleeping with her tongue sticking out, right? Only the office sees this. You can have fun with it as well. You know, it doesn't have to be your glamour shot. Have fun with it. Now, I will say, if you guys hang out with each other outside of work, all right? Hey, Jordan, maybe you go over to Kat's house for dinner one night. You use her computer. Make sure you log out. Maybe Kat goes in. She changes your display name, your user photo. You know, that happened to me. Our VP did it to me. John, we've been best friends for 24 years. Went to his house, used his computer, forgot to log out. He changed my display name and my user photo on my demo account that night, and I had a sales presentation the next morning. Luckily, I caught it in time. He texted me 5 minutes before the meeting started. He's like, "Did you catch it in time?" It was not very flattering. All right. The next thing down here is your cell phone number. All right, it says cell phone. If your cell phone isn't there, put it in there for us. Okay, I promise I will not call you about your car's extended warranty. Okay, what this does here just helps find you a lot faster, right? So we talked about the contacting support, right? If you send us an email and you say, "Hey, call me," but you forget to put your phone number in, if we have it here, it just makes finding it a lot easier. We can help you a lot faster. Okay, because you guys as real estate agents really, really bad at hiding. Okay. All we got to do is put your first and your last name into Uncle Google with the word realtor at the end, and we can find everything about you. All right. So just put your phone number in there for us. The next thing then is your email address / settings. All right. So if we click on that, if you ever need to update your primary email address, it's really easy to do. You just highlight this, delete it out, type in your new email address, and hit update. The one box I like for you to check in there, if you would like to, is this button right here. Copy my primary email address on all emails sent through AppFiles. All right. So everything you send out of AppFiles will blind carbon copy your sent folder in your personal email. That way you have a historical record of it there. That's just for Jen. That way you got that way it club it. No. Now you do have two options. You can use an appfiles.net email address or spoof your email. Do not choose spoof. All right. If you do, 100% of the time, your emails will land up in people's junk. All right. Last thing I like to talk about in here is your email signature. Now, what your email signature is does everybody have, like when you send an email out of your Google or Outlook, whatever, you have a little thing on the bottom that says, you know, "Thank you, sincerely, Jordan Carr." You have one of those? All right. We can do the exact same thing through AppFiles. Okay. These are the instructions. Basically, it says, "Hey, this process is unattended. It will not be verified by our support team." All right. Send a blank email that contains only your signature and we provide you a link. It'll be your first name, underscore, and some weird numbers. All right. So all you do is click copy. And then in your personal email, compose an email. And in the to section, you put in that email address. Nothing in the subject, nothing in the body of the email except your email signature. Okay. Now the reason I say that, because if you type anything here, it will appear. So I'm going to hit send. So what this does is this emails into our email servers. We have 3 email servers. We will strip out your signature footer, place it in the back end under your personal settings. So every single time you send an email out of AppFiles, it will have that signature on it, just like it does on your personal email. All right. So you can see, I just hit email signature. There it is. It says, if you type anything here, it will appear, and there's my footer. You do have the ability to change your password as well. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to show you, Jen, this may benefit you as well if you want to, because this could be how things automatically showed up on your contract. Okay. Now, the brokerage has what we call pre-filled and fixed values. Okay. So pre-filled values are for the brokerage, means that they're there on your forms, but you can change them if you want to. Fixed values means that they're just there. But each one of you as agents have your own set of pre-filled values. Okay. It's called form values. So if you click under form values, all right, this brings up all of your forms. Okay. Go through your top forms that you want. So maybe if I want to do the as is contract, type in any info that you want. It will be there when you add the form. All right. So once I type that in, if I come back here to my file, I'm going to click on add forms. I'm going to type in as is. You can see that text is there. All right. So it's your own pre-filled values. So put your information where it goes. So Jen, if there is a, if you want to put Deidre's information in, or if you do the same title company, everything else, you can pre-fill this stuff. You can always change it in the contract as well.
Actually, I see it there. So it already is pre-filled. So you answered the question from before.
Yeah, it's right there. I see it.
Yeah.
So that is pre-filled on the brokerage side. Awesome.
Right.
Well, there you go. See, boom. So you can kind of see how that works. So it'll save you time. Now,
wasn't that smart?
Yeah. So if you guys, have some free time, right, just go through and fill out your top 10, 15, maybe 20 forms. Don't do all 166 forms, because you will never use all 166 forms, right? But just go through your top 10, 15, 20 forms. Type in your information when you get some free time. That way it'll spend, an hour up front, right? Get a glass of wine or a bottle. We don't judge. And, we call it AppFiles and chilling, right? Get in there and play. There's a second way to get to it as well. So under the form values, it's this way, but under the settings, you can also get to it. It's called user default values. You can get in it this way, show all forms. All right, then you can go through each one this way. We can still got plenty of time. We got like a half hour left. You guys were a good group. Any questions? Lynn, anything else you want me to?
I don't have a question, but I know that there were a couple of things that you went over with me when I first started, and it was how to delete, like when you've typed something and then you want to delete a text, or when you want to move the text around in AppFiles.
What do you mean about removing the text around in AppFiles? Expand on that.
Like when you're editing a page,
okay,
and it's not perfectly centered, my OCD coming out.
Is it OCD or is it CDO, because it has to be in alphabetical order, Jen?
I'm OCD. But you can move where your labels are going. Like if you were to go on there and type something and it's not perfectly centered in the thing, you can show them how to do that. That was helpful for me.
Yeah. So when you're doing it, like, and I'll teach you a little secret too. So if anybody likes to go to like the gun range or anything else, right? So when you go to start adding in text, right? So if I click on text, once I move it to the page, you see how it turns into like crosshairs, right? So pretend like you're lining up to on target, right? So the horizontal line, all right? If you go over here and put the horizontal line on the horizontal line you want it to go to and click, it'll place it in the appropriate place, right? So if you type in something here, all right, and hit create, it should line up. Now this form's a little cockeyed, right? But if you want to move it, you click on it one time till it turns into a 4-way arrow, all right? Then you left click and you can drag it around. All right. If you foobar something and you don't want it there, see how it's highlighted? Do you see delete the selected element? If I click that, it'll go away. All right. Is that what you're talking about, Jen? Awesome. I thought you were talking about like sometimes if you were to, you know, do something like this, like some people do an update or something and it's in the wrong file, things like that. This question does get asked from time to time is, hey, how can I remove it? If you notice an update here, see how it's got a red X, all right? I can actually remove that update. You can actually remove updates, or, you know, if you did something in error within the same 24 hours it's done. Once it hits midnight tonight, all this activity locks down though. We realize sometimes it happens. You're like, oh crap, I didn't mean to put that in that one. Go ahead,
I have
Kat.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
But what if you deleted it, but you wanted it back? Can you find it for us?
Nope. That's one thing I can't get back. Can't get that back. I can get back forms and documents, things like that. But just like if you remove signatures and initials, we can't get that back either. You got to have them re-sign it again. All right. One thing I can show you too is, remember how we split the forms apart? Like I did the one I split out. You can also, if you want to, you can actually merge them back together as well. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can click merge paperwork. You say, I want this and I want this, all right? And I just merge it back together. So it's going to take the two documents and just put them right back together. All right. Yeah, so there's the page one, and then there's everything else that we did. You also, under actions, you can actually put in merge forms this way. You can actually move them to other app files, all kind of fun stuff. Never know, like if you start clicking on things in app files, you'll be like, what? I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that was there. You guys can even, I'll show you this too. So sometimes it happens. We have different sections. These are called AppFiles sections. All right. This is a way to organize paperwork. So anytime you add in from add forms, it goes to general paperwork. When we email something in, it goes to emailed. When you upload, it goes to upload. Right. So maybe this is a buyer's file, maybe, right? And this as is contract for purchase. Hey, this is a rejected offer, right? You can actually rename the form if you want and be like, this is a Smith offer from 1/11/2023. All right. You can either hit this little green check mark or hit enter. It does the same exact thing, but you can move them to different sections right here, right? Maybe this is, let's see here, dead docs. All right. So this is just a way you can organize your paperwork over here on the left-hand side too. So if you're OCD like Jen and you want to organize everything around, then you can. Any other questions? Ms. Lynn, you got anything else I didn't cover?
I'm good. I think it's giving all these guys a lot to look at and practice on. And I think you covered pretty much everything that I would want you to cover.
Awesome.
Is there anything anybody has that, I mean, I know you guys don't know what you don't know, but as you get into it, and if you have any questions, you can always, click that support button. Because that's what I do when I don't know something. So
yeah, and I tell everybody, just like the brokerage that I was at yesterday, they've been with us about a little over 8 years, and they're very stuck in their ways. Their admin staff, they're like, no, call me. And some of the agents are like, sometimes it happens it's the weekend, they don't answer the phone. What happens? I'm like, you pick up the phone and call us, and that's what we do. And like I said, we got 6 full-time people. Now, I will tell you, we're real people. So you may hear dogs in the background and my wife yelling at them, right? You may, hear kids running around the background, right? Well, we are real people. That was really hard to say. All right. Jennifer, we do not have the little thing on the bottom that says, hi, my name's Steve. How can I help you? Right? little handsome dude on the bottom, that's AI. It's not a real person. All right. We are real people. But no, literally pick up the phone. Any question you got as you're working on it, playing with it, pick up the question. All of our people either have real estate backgrounds or we're customers of AppFiles. You know, I said, I've been around for 9 years. Minnie's been here for about 5. You know, some of the people that we have, they've been around for 10 years with AppFiles. So we're here to help you out.
And I also think it is so, there's hardly anything that you can do to mess something up, right? You can, so I wouldn't be afraid of it. It does look intimidating at first, but it's really not. You cannot mess this up.
And the nice thing about AppFiles is, you know, we work with 1,600 plus brokerages out there, you know, and everybody uses the system just a little bit different, right? Because Kat, you're going to work different than Kim works. Kim, you're going to work different than Jordan works. Jordan, you're going to work different than Jennifer works, right? Because everybody works a little bit different. So what AppFiles does, it gives you the flexibility to work how you want to work. You know, when you're starting a transaction, do you want to start with the contact data? A lot of people love to, right? Because if you're going out for a listing appointment or you're working on a seller's file, you've got a lot of information. You got their name, you got their phone number, you got their email address, you got, you know, what they're looking for. Well, a buyer's file, well, what do you have with them? You just got their name, right? Maybe a phone number. You start a file on them, right? So you can start with the contact data. But then again, if it's a buyer that you're working with, you're like, hey, I just saw this property over on 123 Main Street. I know there's 6 other offers in, highest and best, let's go. Well, I'm going to jump in directly to forms. I want to fill out a form first. That way I can shoot it off, right? So it all depends on your flexibility, how you want to work. If you want to work with forms first, you can. If you want to work with the contact data first, you can. You know, we don't put the limitations on it. You can use all of the system. You can use a little bit of the system. It's not an all or nothing thing either. I don't know if you can hear the little baby in there. She's mad. All right, what else? Nothing else?
I don't really have any questions, but this was great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
This is my first time seeing it, so it's kind of a lot, but
it can be. And Kat, so are you a hands-on type of person? Do you learn? Okay. So that's what makes this kind of hard on my side, especially when it's, you know, we do it through Zoom, you know, in person a little bit different, but through Zoom makes it a little bit harder because one, listening to a tech guy for 2 hours is boring. I know that. All right. That's why I try to make it interesting. We have it fun. So thank you for leaving the cameras on and stuff, because it's a lot more interactive that way. The brokerage I was at yesterday, the owner's son, afterwards, he's like, man, that was like the most fun 2 hours I've had in a long time. He's like, I was thinking, God, I got to listen to a tech guy for 2 hours. He's like, I'm going to gouge my eyeballs out with a spoon. You know what I mean? But try to make it interesting. So the easiest way, I'm the same exact way. You can tell me 3 different times to do something a certain way. Until I put my hands on the keyboard, I can't figure it out. That's why literally, if you got nothing else going on, create a test file. Click on every single button, add form, start moving. You cannot break AppFiles, I promise. All right? Because anytime we create something new, we give it to my wife. If she can't break it, y'all can, I promise. Awesome. I said, go home, create a test file, click on every single button. Let us know if you got any questions. We're here to help you out. And, you know, if there's nothing else, guess you guys go forth and have an amazing day and be awesome.
Thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions, of course I'm here, but like I said, that their support is second to none. So I would encourage you to.
Lynn, I appreciate that. I normally expand on my support thing. Like you can ask Lynn, we've been around for 12 years, almost 13 years now for public use. We don't do contracts. Everything is month to month. I haven't written a 12-month or a 24-month contract in, I don't know, probably 10 years as a company. Anybody can leave whenever they want, you know, but we've literally managed to maintain, you know, probably 95% of our clients over 12 years, you know, because of the product and the service we provide. You know, so when I say that, like Lynn said, they're second to nobody, I would put our support team against any company in this country. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they do. You know, we don't take no for an answer. You know what I mean? There's nothing we won't do. You know, if it's illegal, we got to talk offline.
Agreed. I've called in a few times and they've been absolutely outstanding. So wonderful support.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, they're far more. Everybody's like, I'm calling you. You're the trainer. I'm like, don't call me. They're way cooler and better than I am. They're way more important than I am.
I always get some little gem out of your classes. That's why I keep coming back. It's not that you haven't taught me enough. It's that there's always something new to learn.
I think Jen likes me.
I think. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And you guys have an amazing day. Let us know if you guys need anything, and don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Leave the door wide open.
Thank you very much. That was
You're
great.
very welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. Don't forget to stop your recording, Lynn.